Didn't start. Oh, it did start. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, what's up, folks? Welcome to tonight's episode of the Running Gun Podcast. I'm Jay Peeps. Hopefully, your Valentine's Day is going extraordinarily well this evening, or if you've already celebrated it and you're just winding down the evening with us, welcome to tonight's episode. Tonight is the season finale of the Running Gun Podcast for season 7. We're wrapping it up post Super Bowl, so this is basically just reaction to the Super Bowl. Looking back on a few things HBCU wise and closing the book on this season. This has been a wild and long season. This was probably the longest season we've ever had. So a lot to talk about tonight. Regardless of who would have won the Super Bowl, there was going to be an HBCU player that won it. We're also going to look at the NFL draft and the draft order and how everything falls. Also, as well, too, who was named NFL HBCU Player of the Year in the NFL. We're also going to talk about that and discuss that. And then also, too, going to recap, of course, Super Bowl 58. We're going to look at this new dynasty that has emerged in Kansas City and things such as that. Is that Ace? Well, hold on. Is that Ace? That's Ace. There he is. All right, awesome.
One didn't want to work. What is going on?
It's going good. Just basically said everything. Also, we're going to talk about combine events, too, this evening. So, yeah, Ace, you got everything?
Good.
Got anything to say, buddy?
Yeah. Nah. Just been a wild season, I guess. I think this is the longest we've ever gone. 18 episodes into the season.
Pretty much.
Grinded through.
We're also going to talk about
some wild stuff.
We're also going to talk about if Ace took care of his Valentine today. I'm just playing. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, the dog happy.
Oh, well, in that case, yeah, I guess he did. All right.
All right. Anyway, be a friend, tell a friend, like, share, subscribe.
Well, when you say that, do you mean the dog is happy or the dog is happy?
The four-legged one.
Okay. Said double check.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm trying to find this draft order that we have. Oh, I know where it is.
All right. Anyway, while he's doing that, I'm gonna run the intro.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is JP.
This is the Bug.
This is JC.
This is Flash. This is Jimi Hendrix.
And you're listening to
You're listening to
the Run and Gun Podcast.
Cool. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So
the We Live tweet, gotta redo it.
Oh, go ahead. But yeah, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. As you all know, Super Bowl 58 was played this past weekend. And regardless of who would have won, there was going to be an HBCU player that got a ring. So as it follows, you had Javon Hargrave playing for the 49ers, and then you also had Joshua Williams, who's a defensive back, also playing for the Chiefs. So as it follows, simply put, kudos to Joshua Williams, who actually ended up winning the Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, which in my case was a very wild finish in overtime where I almost fell asleep. But
I fell asleep early in the game. That game was boring to start. It had a good ending, though. I'll say that. It had one of the better endings.
It did. It really did. It was kind of dull there for a minute, especially there was a fumble in there.
Midway
I'm sure.
Third.
Yeah, it was just a very dead period. I'm like, dude, come on, this is the Super Bowl, dude, come on. Plus, I think a little bit of it too is we've seen those two play before, but that's besides. Also, too, Markquese Bell named NFL HBCU Player of the Year, as we all expected. And I will say this about Markquese Bell. We knew he was good from his time at FAMU. When it's time for him to get paid, dude, yeah, Dallas better fork it up if they want to keep. You're gonna have to pay that dude when it's time. Otherwise, if you're not Jerry Jones in Dallas, he's gonna go somewhere else and he's gonna produce. Just gonna call it what it is.
I gotta go find the the tweet I had of saying he was gonna be the next Shaq Leonard of the NFL. That aged like milk. Darius Leonard, next Darius Leonard in the NFL, or not age like milk. That aged like fine wine. Sorry, used age like milk earlier today. Anyway, that take aged to perfection. When I say it's like he balled out this year, and so kudos to him. It's like we knew what this man was gonna be coming out, so and we're not surprised.
Oh, definitely, dude. Honestly, what I see with Markquese Bell is what I say with a lot of guys. A lot of guys just need an opportunity. That's all they need. So, like, when I look at a guy like, a Bubba Adams, Colton Bubba Adams, who's at Alabama State I'm sure he's coming out. When I look at a guy like that, I'm like, dude, all he needs is to get his foot through the door. When I look at a guy like Terrell Jennings, I'm like, yeah, he needs to just get his foot through the door. I look at a Marcus Riley. You just need to get your foot through the door and get an opportunity. And make the most of your opportunity when you get it, and you'll be fine. That's what I look at it and I see. Because honestly, like, you can't tell me that Terrell Jennings would have been useful as an extra running back in the backfield for San Francisco this past weekend. You can't say he would not have been useful playing down in, say, Miami. They could benefit from someone like him. Like, you put Marcus Riley in a rotation with that 4x1 relay team that the Dolphins have, forget about it. Or you put Bubba Adams at linebacker for the Broncos, that defense probably progresses.
Just let him in the door and let him cook.
Exactly, man. Oh my goodness, I did not start the live feed. I didn't start the live feed on Instagram.
Are you sure?
I did. Now I did. It's live now. Go crazy.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And slackened.
Also, too, so we have a look at the HBCU basketball standings as it pertains to the SWAC at the moment. We'll first look at men's and then we'll go into women's. So, in the men's side of things, for sure nothing's changed as far as the standings. So you have Southern sitting up top at 15-9. Grambling is in second at 11-13. Honestly, that's impressive. Because usually when you look at it, it's like Texas Southern is the team from the SWAC that you're usually accustomed to seeing in the NCAA tournament, but it feels like Southern may make a run. 10-0 at home. They have not lost a game on home court. And then Bethune's right there at 9-2 at home, 12-12 overall, 7-4 in their conference. And Coach McCollum and FAMU are sitting there at 4-18 and 2-9. Well,
that is.
Dude, I don't know how I hate to say it like this. I usually don't say coaches are on their way out, but I don't see how Coach McCollum survives to see 2025.
Oh, no.
Especially knowing you're only better than an 0-24 and an 0-11 Mississippi Valley team, who probably may not win a basketball game this year. I know that's a stretch, but let's just call it what it is. That's embarrassing. And then as far as the women goes, over there in the SWAC, I'm actually quite impressed. So FAMU's women's team they're 7-15, but they're 6-5 in the conference. They are very impressive. But I knew that they had the potential because it's a lot of close games that they play that they haven't closed out yet. What's up, dude? But yeah, it's a lot of close games that they've played that they weren't able to close out. And then but now I'm seeing like the things are coming to fruition. So they're trending in the right direction. There's more promise with women's basketball than there is with men's basketball right now.
Oh
But
yeah,
also, as it stands right now, too, Jackson State.
a lot of programs.
That's true. That's actually very true. It's a sad truth. Well, not the sad truth because I shouldn't say it like that, but that is the truth. But yeah. So Jackson State leads the way, 16-6, 11-0 in the conference. Behind them is Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff's actually good at something for once. 13-11, 8-3 in the conference. Good stuff. I like it. I'm impressed. And then lowly Mississippi Valley sitting there at 1-10 in the conference, 2-22 overall.
That I'm impressed part just feels like he's like, I don't want to say it, but I gotta say it.
Hey, dude. I'll say this though. One thing I'm actually like, I would probably bet money. I'd probably bet $20 on it. I think the Mississippi Valley women can beat the Mississippi Valley men in basketball.
I wouldn't take that bet. Well, as long as it's the women 3-point line.
I mean, you can give it to the women. Give it to them. Come on. I really think that like that's how bad the men are. I think. Probably high school.
That's rough.
Let me stop. These are someone's children. That's someone's children. Let me stop. Then we slide over to the MEAC. And in the MEAC, we have North Carolina Central sitting there at 13-9, 5-2. Actually, there's a tie for first place right now between North Carolina Central and Norfolk State. So in the men's side of things, I think it'll depend on who gets that March Madness berth. Yeah, who wins the MEAC, of course, but I think that MEAC crown comes down to North Carolina Central or Norfolk State. So one is 13-9, one's 15-9. Both are 5-2 overall. Norfolk State, as just like Southern's men's team, has yet to lose a game on their home court. They're 9-0 right now.
Defend your home turf, man.
Yeah. I'm actually very surprised at the records by the two. Why are you what?
Bro, this light making it look like it's shining right off my face.
No, dude, you're fine. I'm actually quite surprised at the fact that like Maryland Eastern Shore and Coppin State are so bad in basketball this year. I don't know if there's something I'm missing.
Some people would probably just lose a lot of guys in transfer portal.
That's that's something else that we're not keeping track of with all this, that you lose sight of it in other sports, but not football. It's like when you look at it from a basketball standpoint, dude, like, and especially in reference to St. Peter's, I believe it was a year or two ago.
Yeah, got the whole team gutted.
The way that team, and I'm sure what probably happened here, the way a lot of these teams get gutted for their talent in a matter of it could happen in minutes. It happens quicker in basketball, I feel like, than it does in football. The way your team can just get gutted in an offseason the minute you lose a tournament like that, ooh, it's horrible. Or it's like they feel like they can get developed in a better place. Hate that.
That's the issue with the transfer portal. That's like one of the few problems, what I should say. Because, like in football, it's easier to get recruits because it's like such a bigger roster and whatnot. But in basketball, it's 5 guys who are on the court. And you need probably 13, 15 guys on a team total.
Yeah.
And once you lose your best 5 players, that talent level drops significantly compared to if you lose.
Not even if you
like
lose.
If 5 guys transferring out, that's 33% of your team gone right there. Now, if it's like when you have 5 guys transfer from a football team, that's like 5 out of 50 or 5 out of how many people's on a college football team?
It's like usually
the percentage is just small.
Like 110, I thought it was on a whole team.
So yeah, that's less than like 2% or whatever.
But yeah, no, you're right though. Like that's just, it's insane to me because even my thing is like even if you just lose like 2 starters and maybe 3 bench players, that's still a huge blow. That's a blow to your starting lineup and your quality depth. It's just I think that's the lost part of all of this. And now, looking at the women's standings in the MEAC. So as it goes right now, Norfolk State actually dominates that, and North Carolina Central, ironically. So, but right now, Norfolk State leads the way, 17-5, 6-0 on home court, 6-1 in conference play. North Carolina Central is 5-2, 11-11 overall, 7-1 on their home court. Dude, this is gonna be an exciting little like drive to conference championship tournaments and stuff for both the SWAC.
Oh yeah.
Because right now, I'm honestly gonna be real with you. Men's side of things, I'm putting my money on Southern and the SWAC to make it to the tournament. I don't know who to really put my money on in the women's aspect of in the women's and the SWAC, I'm putting my money on Jackson State to make it. Might probably get matched up against Don Staley in South Carolina or LSU or Iowa, maybe. Knocked out in the first round.
Or Tennessee.
Yeah, I could see that. On the women's side of things, women.
That is the women's side.
My bad. Men's side of things.
On the men's side of things,
it's a coin toss for me. It's either going. I'm going to take Norfolk State. Norfolk State probably. They make that first round. They're probably in that first four. Loser goes home after that first four. Depending on who they get matched up with, I think they can win. And then women's side of things here, probably have to go with Norfolk State again. I think Norfolk State will make it from the MEAC.
I can see it. I ain't gonna lie, I can see that. That's not like impossible or whatever. It's just not a whole lot of teams outside of like Norfolk State that's like maybe they can sneak in, but it's like really on the men's side it's rough. It's slim pickings because like with women's, right, they have to stay the full 4 years, and that's why they don't have as many guys get like their roster doesn't get gutted as much by the transfer portal. If you have if you're a small team getting good success because they're not as much how to say it's like player rotation, whereas people are going into the draft and there's people coming in. It's not as much going in and out. You know what I mean? Where it's compared to the men's where it's the one and done rule. So it's like if you have a team that's not maybe like a Duke or a North Carolina, but you have like a team maybe like not Houston, but like the mid-tier teams who are in the tournament, like let's say just 1 through 16, so like an 8 seed or whatever. They lose maybe 2 guys to draft or transfer portal to a top team. They need somebody else to come in, so they take somebody from an HBCU team, and they're gone. And it's like, bang, bang, your team's already gone compared to women's like, oh, they're staying there longer.
Yeah.
So it's harder to maintain success.
Facts. That's facts. And one other thing before we do move on to the NFL, because we're going to make this a little quick tonight. Let's go and ask you, will we see an HBCU player get drafted this year? It's actually the best jumping point right here.
I'm going to be real. I don't see it. Sucks, but I don't. Last year was the same nonsense.
I'm unfortunately going to agree with you. I see a lot of undrafted free agents that will come out of HBCU ball. It's like when we talked to Orlando McKinley. Part of it is, I think, a little bit of backlash for the success that HBCU sports in general has had since the start of this decade, coming out of COVID. I think a little bit of it is that. But I also think that a lot of these scouts find the talent, but a lot of the front office personnel, and it goes back to, I think this was said a year ago, a lot of the front office personnel want guys from these noticeable schools, not to say exactly. They want them from the big Power 5 schools, so that way they can just sell tickets and the big names and stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh, so and so went there, versus it's like, no, dude, you need to go get a quality player. If the quality player is from an HBCU, you need to go get them.
But also, it works out too if they go undrafted because they get to pick what team they go to, and they get paid more guaranteed money than like a 7th-round pick.
That's true too. That's very true.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
There's some positives. It's not like the worst end all.
And plus, it's like it adds to an even greater come up story too, because it's like what that league is $450K, and if you come from that, like Markquese Bell's about to do, and you start making it, and you make a name for yourself, and you're guaranteed to earn much significantly more in your second contract. That's a heck of a comeback story. That's the definition of rags to riches.
And that also can sell more tickets too.
Exactly. Plus, you're making a little bit from your jersey sales.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have it. But all right, yeah, that's the
that
perfect
transitions us perfectly into our next segment.
Exactly. And with that, we can actually talk about the draft position for.
Well, I guess first we got to talk about the Super Bowl, though.
That's true. I guess we can. So,
okay, first and foremost, thoughts and prayers to all the people involved in that shooting in Kansas City today. Terrible situation. A lot of them were kids getting shot. Man, that sucked.
Dude, it was like
terrible, man.
I think it was like what, 1 dead, 19 injured.
Yeah, and like 12 of them are kids, like in the range of like 5 to 12 or something like that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's sick stuff, man. Sick stuff.
Dude, I never understood the significance
in a Florida mall and a Nebraska mall or something like that.
That's insane, dude. That's come on. Like, we can't even have Super Bowl parades anymore. Like, come on. Oh well.
I assume because you took the 49ers over the
I'm gonna be honest, dude. I'm gonna be real with you, dude. I mean, hey, you know, like, honestly, if we're being real, he shouldn't even have been there.
Should have been Lamar, but it's all good.
Yeah. Like,
it's all good, I guess.
He has the experience, I will say. He has the experience. And that's the advantage he has. He has the experience. You can't
the experience of the refs and the NFL script writers on the side.
That part. Plus, it's like you look at a lot of these other teams, they try to go for home run, big plays and stuff, and they're just trying to get it all back in one sitting. Mahomes just dissects you.
Now, but you can look at that game and it's like, there's no way they can say it wasn't scripted. I mean, they got guys from the head of CBS saying they're going to have their first ever double overtime game. We were like 6 seconds away from our first ever double overtime game.
We were.
And that game could have easily ended in regulation if they wasn't scripted to try to get Travis Kelce the game-winning touchdown. Because Rashee Rice was wide open.
Facts.
So
now
just like
you say that, and I say this, and I'm going to pull this up right now.
Mm-hmm.
You say that, I say this, because this is a very true statement.
Nah, man, this man here got me had me feeling. I was like, geez, man, you went and you go and you fire your defense coordinator. You have blown 28-3. It was your offense that blew to 28-3.
Yep.
It was your offense that blew. People say defense is what? No, your offense can put up points and keep other teams off the field for extended periods of time.
Like 20-10 at one point when they played the Chiefs the first time in Super Bowl 54.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They were losing, and then they
blew that. So that's 2.
And then
they were up
Sunday. They were up 10-0. Right?
No, they were up. They were up 13 or something. It was up like it was like a 7-point game at halftime, right? They were up 10-0 at one point.
I could have swore they were up like 10-0 at one point.
Yeah. So you are the first. You have blown 3 Super Bowl leads. You have blown 2 of the. You have blown the biggest lead in Super Bowl history. You have lost the 2 only overtime games in Super Bowl history.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you go and you fire a defensive coordinator.
Someone had to take
When you had 0 first downs the entire third quarter.
someone had to be the fall man. And unfortunately it
That
was
was a
Steve.
Dennis Allen type move, man.
Dude, look. And here's the funny thing. I feel like their defense is going to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
Because you went from D'Amico Ryans, who's going to have a better year next year in the AFC South. So Jacksonville fans, you better get ready. You better get ready. And you better get serious about trying to win that division. Because D'Amico Ryans is coming. And then you just fired Steve Wilkes. So now it's like, you got the defensive core, but it ain't going to be the same. San Francisco's not going back next year. The blueprint is out. It is. People need to just stop being so afraid of the 49ers is the thing. Go out there and just rather knock
I'm going to tell you one. I'm going to tell you one right now. I have a feeling, I'm not entirely sure, but there's a feeling I have that's like, when I saw the Seahawks hired Grubbs from Washington, I'm like, oh, if they trade out for Penix, man, you replace Geno with him on that team if the O-line is healthy this year. Because remember, Cross and Lucas were out most of this year.
Mm-hmm.
You got them. You got Walker. You got Charbonnet. You got DK. You got Lockett. You got JSN. New offensive coordinator coming in with Grubbs, who ran it with Penix. You still got Noah Fant. You got Kobe Parkinson, who wasn't bad. You got a pretty good O-line. And you got a hell of a secondary going in with Woolen and Witherspoon. You got a front four. Hey, Seattle might be making some noise in that NFC West next year. And then you also got to remember, they got some birds down in the desert who are going to go and get Kyler Murray some help.
And the Rams.
Man, Matthew Stafford's kind of all broken up, but Sean McVay can still make noise.
He still can. Look. And I like Patrick Nacua. Is his first name Patrick? I know his last name.
Nacua.
Yeah,
Nacua. I think it's Nacua.
Yeah, I know it's Nacua, but I like him and Cooper Kupp together. I like that. So
and Tutu Atwell is not bad either.
Exactly. So this man right here is the one common denominator in
and all 49ers issues.
And there's a lot of people, a lot of teams that are out to get him, especially in the NFC.
I will say this. The Shanahan system is a really good system to run an offense in the regular season. When it comes to playoffs and that games get cold, I know the Super Bowl was in the desert, but when the games get cold in the playoffs to get to that point, you saw it in Miami.
It was in the desert.
Well, Vegas is in the desert, and it's in a dome, but
even the one before.
You know what I mean? When like certain teams, like when the games get rough, it doesn't exactly work. It's kind of easy to stop sometimes when the games get tight.
It really, and you're right. It's honestly, and that's one thing I can say is like when you look at this 49ers team versus those old 49ers teams from like the 80s and stuff, and you just now, before we get started, everybody's like, but you weren't even alive in the 80s. Yeah, well, this is why YouTube and highlights exist. So, I say that to say this. You look at the old 49ers teams and you look at like the consistency of Jerry Rice and, oh my gosh, the other dude, number 82 for them. I forget his name. But you look at the consistency at wide receiver. You look at the grittiness that those 49ers defenses had. You look at the consistency Joe Montana had, and then you look at the ground and pound game that they have with Roger Craig. And it's like the same principles to me just don't apply. It's like you can't this 49ers team, these last three 49ers teams, they're just bound to make mistakes. I don't know.
I'll say this. Their only touchdown really – well, their 2 touchdowns were because of Jawan Jennings. And, like, one of them was a trick play.
Exactly.
That offense wasn't getting anything going.
Exactly. That's just the sad part. It's like that old 49er grittiness that they used to display in the playoffs back in the 80s, I don't see it. The closest they ever came was when they had Kaepernick. But it's just, that will to win by Ray Lewis and the Ravens and the lead that they had established before the lights went out and 49ers made that little run. It was just too much to overcome.
I will say this too also. It's like I kind of got the vibe in that third quarter that they wanted Purdy to put the game away so they can help promote some narratives around him, so we could say like he's not like entirely a system quarterback and he could do it for the 49ers. Like Purdy's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong or anything like that, right? He's I would say he's probably better. He's like better than 50% of the league. He's better than Derek Carr for what I could say. Gotta throw him that jab, man. And they tried to force him to win the game in the third quarter, and he couldn't do it. And like they just abandoned the run again, like they did what like Shanahan did in the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Dude.
He abandoned the run. It's like McCaffrey was doing good. It wasn't like McCaffrey wasn't getting nothing. They just didn't run much of the ball on first down like they normally did.
McCaffrey was playing with a purpose. And then it's like you look at Super Bowl 51 where he was the OC in Atlanta. Devontae Freeman was running with a purpose. Like, dude, those dudes were running because like they had somewhere to be. They looked like they were trying to win a Super Bowl. Like
3 Super Bowls are cost. I want to say 3 Super Bowls are cost because the NFL does not want running backs to win Super Bowls.
Did he go away from Raheem Mostert in Super Bowl 54? I feel like he did.
I wouldn't shock me if he did because like I don't think Mostert had the effect he did like he did against the Packers. Actually, that makes it 4. Because remember, Seahawks would have won if they gave Marshawn the ball. But they wanted to make Russ the hero because they didn't want to pay Marshawn.
That's true. That's the unfortunate
Falcons,
truth.
They didn't want to pay Devontae. Tried to make Matt Ryan the hero. How'd that work out?
You got to just stick to
They wanted Jimmy G to be the hero. Jimmy G didn't do it. Now it was kind of like you try to make him Purdy here because Christian McCaffrey had almost like he had over 150 yards from scrimmage, and yet you didn't run him much in the second half until it got back time to go, and they had to take the lead back after Kansas City done caught up.
I don't get it, dude. See, honestly, for me at least, it's like at some point I'm just like, look, dude, I don't care what position you play. If you're gonna carry us to a ring, carry us to a ring. Like, honestly, I would have ran Christian McCaffrey into the ground for that ring. Because we could have been sitting here right now, 6 Super Bowls for San Francisco, if they'd have kept feeding Christian McCaffrey. If they would have gotten Debo involved more consistently as well too, but then he got hurt.
All right, first drive for San Francisco, right? So after the Mahomes interception to start the third quarter, Brock Purdy step back to pass incomplete, false start. Brock Purdy step back to incomplete. Brock Purdy scrambles for 4 yards, punt, right? Second drive, Brock Purdy pass right to Juwan Jennings, lost 8. Brock Purdy to McCaffrey for 7 yards. Brock Purdy incomplete on third down, punt. 0 runs so far, right? Chris McCaffrey up the middle, has his first run. Brock Purdy step back to pass, incomplete. Brock Purdy step back to pass, incomplete, punt.
Wait, so they ran the ball one time in
one time in the first 3 drives. No, I ain't done. Brock Purdy step back to pass, incomplete. Christian McCaffrey for 5 yards. So that's 2 runs so far. Brock Purdy pass short to Juwan Jennings, gain of 17. Brock Purdy pass to Deebo Samuel, gain of 9. Kyle Juszczyk for 2 yards. Brock Purdy pass. McCaffrey run. That's second down. McCaffrey run for a loss of 1 on third down. And then they went to Kittle for fourth down. And then this is in the fourth quarter. So in the third quarter, Chris McCaffrey had 2 rushing attempts.
In the fourth quarter?
In the whole entire third quarter, McCaffrey had 2 rushing attempts.
So you basically
after Kansas City took the lead, then they started giving back the ball to McCaffrey.
You can't win if you don't have balance. You can't win if you don't have balance. That's one thing I credit new Panthers head coach Dave Canales with. He's going to find a balance with his play calling. He's going to have some
McCaffrey had-
runs.
Keep going.
I was gonna say he's gonna have some runs, he's gonna have some passes. But it's like, dude, you can't be so one-dimensional. Especially in a game like this, you can't be one-dimensional. Like, what is that going to get you? You saw the Chiefs, they mixed it up. And they played full of mistakes. Because honestly, if you look at it, there was one point where Travis Kelce had one catch for 5 yards. And then they finally started getting him the ball. Then they finally established their rushing attack. They created some balance. And then look what happened. That's crazy, man.
So McCaffrey had 9 rushing attempts in the first half. He had 2 the entire third. And then they started giving him back the ball in the fourth after they already blew the lead.
Honestly, dude, that doesn't even feel like the script on. That just feels like dumb game management by San Francisco.
No, I'm not even saying that's like script writing or whatever. That is just Shanahan being Shanahan and not protecting leads.
San Francisco can keep him. And it's sad. And what's funny is, the crazy thing about it is he's not going to get fired for any of it because he gets this team to the Super Bowl. He's gotten them there twice. He's earned his safe stay. Now, at some point further on down the line, this is going to get old. And they're going to be like, oh, man, we made all these changes and stuff except for one change. We keep getting here and we keep losing. So in another 4 years, San Francisco will be back in the Super Bowl. And San Francisco will probably lose. So what is that? Okay, so you just had 58, 59, 60. Probably Super Bowl 61 or Super Bowl 62. We're going to probably see San Francisco again. Either Brock Purdy or somebody else will come along and play quarterback. San Francisco will reestablish itself defensively. And they'll probably get there and lose again.
I'll say this too. It's like first team to get a good like an elite, truly elite quarterback in the NFC, like what the AFC has, right? So the AFC's got Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, Stroud, Lawrence, Richardson, Lamar, all these guys, right? Yep. Josh Allen, Deshaun Cosby, I guess, if you really want to call him that.
Terrible.
Like, there's a lot of guys under 30 who are really good in the AFC, right? They're all top 10 quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
The NFC, it is bad in the NFC in the quarterback realm, right? So it's really the first team to get a really elite quarterback, like a true top 10 quarterback, not like Matthew Stafford or Jalen Hurts, who had like a one good year kind of thing, but they're not going to be able to take you to a Super Bowl on your own and win it. Like you could think like Mahomes, Burrow, well, even Lamar and Josh Allen, like even though they can't beat Mahomes, it's like those guys could still probably take you to the Super Bowl if they will. Jalen Hurts had 1 year, but it's like Jalen Hurts this year did not look like the same Jalen Hurts from last year.
I'm gonna tell you what else. I peeped this when I was watching the Pro Bowl 2 weeks ago. Low key, if you look at the NFC side in the Pro Bowl, a lot of those guys. This may be my bias a little bit. A lot of those guys on that NFC team respond better to Baker than they did to Hurts. Oh, I did? Did I unfreeze?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm good now?
Yeah.
All right. No, I was saying, if you look at that NFC side, that NFC sideline during the Pro Bowl, a lot of those guys – we have a comment, by the way. A lot of those guys responded better. Well, maybe it's my bias showing. A lot of those guys responded better with Baker than they did with Jalen Hurts. I just look at body language on the sideline. A lot of those guys seem like they could just be so much more looser and talk with Baker versus Jalen Hurts. Like, It just, I don't know. Again, I just look at the body language.
The NFC in the Pro Bowl was like they were good with Jalen, they fell off with Geno, and then Baker came in and saved it.
I noticed that too. I was like, what are they doing? I
I
noticed.
don't even know how Geno got in.
That's what I was trying to figure out too. I was like, how is Geno Smith I was like, this is how I know it's like the
NFC quarterbacks is rough.
it is. And I'm telling you, who is active right now,
Whoever gets one first is running that conference.
whoever can just take the next step. Because obviously, like, dude, there's a lot of Eagles fans I know. They don't feel confident about what they got coming back. Detroit can they got Goff, but it's like I feel like they have more bronze than brains. I don't trust Detroit in a big game situation like the NFC Championship, or heck, even getting back to the divisional round, depending on who they play.
They got into the NFC Championship this year.
And they did something stupid and cost themselves.
They won for it on fourth down. I mean, you can't go from fourth down every time. You got to take the point sometime, but I think that'll be a learning experience too.
We'll see. We'll see. Again, I think that team has more bronze than brains. I really do. I genuinely, it's more aggressive than it is. You got to find a balance between conservative and aggressive, and I don't think Detroit's found that yet. Hopefully, they find it in one off season, but I doubt it.
I mean, they're pretty much running back almost the exact same team.
Isn't Chauncey leaving?
No, well, not the exact same. That's kind of addition, but from subtraction, maybe. They just need to work on their secondary.
They do.
Hey, y'all want to give us first round pick for Marshawn? That'd be great.
Actually, speaking of that, we can go ahead and
let's get into the comment with Ashton first, right? Can the Chiefs three-peat?
That's tough.
I wouldn't rule it out. I gotta see if Joe Burrow's healthy. The Bengals, like, I am sure the Bengals are taking offensive line in the first round, and they're gonna go wide receiver in the second round, and they're probably getting a first round pick for T. Higgins.
Yeah, you gotta look at.
And if they can somehow pull out like a Dunze and like somebody else in the second round, like a Johnny Wilson or something, who can go get the T. Higgins jump ball, Cincinnati's gonna be right back in it.
Yep.
And Joe Burrow is the only active quarterback to beat Mahomes in the playoffs.
Yep.
So if Mahomes, if Burrow can't do it, it's kind of be like, I don't know who can.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I think maybe Houston, if Stroud takes another step.
And I think he will.
That is the only could potentially beat Mahomes.
If you really look at it, they are building a defensive arsenal to go after Kansas City, go after Buffalo, to go after Cincinnati. The Texans are building something on defense around Will Anderson and company. And CJ Stroud, he just cool, calm, and collected. Nothing's gonna phase him. He's been that way since he was at Ohio State, and it very much shows. So if Burrow next season, Stroud taking the next step is your best hope in the AFC to hold him.
Nobody
back.
in the NFC beating him.
You got to build a defense in the NFC to take him on. I didn't sense the urgency from San Francisco. You got to have some elite pass rushers to get after Mahomes and throw him off his.
You gotta be able. It's kind of like how you play Brady, but in like it's similar to how you play Brady, but not similar. If you know what I mean. It's like you can only rush 4 against Mahomes, like you can only do that against Brady. But if you get pressure on him, you got to be able to contain him. Because unlike Brady, he's gonna run.
Super Bowl 55 gave you the blueprint of how to stop Mahomes. Literally.
That was what? Shaq Barrett,
JPP,
Sue, and JPP.
Yeah, wait, Shaq Barrett, JPP, Dominican Sue,
and Vita Vea.
That was the blueprint. Not to mention Devin White, Levante David. Like you had the blueprint.
Somebody is gonna pay Chase Young and ignore that bad play he had against the Lions. And I don't blame him. I think Chase Young's still good. He just had a really boneheaded, lazy play against the Lions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, what was that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, I was gonna bring this up.
Okay.
We got the draft order right here. Oh, let me see if I can like scroll it up a little bit. Ooh. Wait, whoa.
There you go. Now go back to how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just scroll down.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is as it follows right now. Chicago holds the number 1 pick. That's via trade from Carolina. So Carolina in this whole thing does not have a first round pick. Ooh, that's rough. Eric Bieniemy and company, whether if he is brought back, they'll have the choice at number 2. This is the highest that I think.
The enemy's not getting brought back. They hired what's his face, Cliff Kingsbury.
That's dude. See, he must not interview well. I don't know what it is. So Cliff Kingsbury gets Sam Howell. That's crazy. And honestly, this is the highest.
Drake May.
This is the highest I've ever seen the Patriots ever pick.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
They're probably going. I'd be shocked if they don't go Jaden Daniels.
The Bears have 2 top 10 picks.
Yep.
The Bears can't screw this up, right?
Now, what I could see potentially happening, maybe, is the Bears going and they send like 9 Fields and like a future second or something like that, and go up to 3. It's like they send Fields to the Patriots, and like they go to 3 and they take like Marvin Harrison or like Neighbors or somebody. That'd be nasty. Put Caleb and Harrison Jr. together.
My thing is, I just feel like it doesn't.
The Bears is where QBs go to die.
Not even. I just feel like honestly, it's like it doesn't matter who the Bears go get. I just feel like they just until they get some type of issue straightened out with their front office, like it's not going to matter. That's how I'm feeling. Because it's like, let's be real. If we all had to really put money on it, Chicago's going to probably be picking top 5 next year again anyway. Or at least somewhere in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
If we really think about it. Because I'll be real with you. I have more faith that the Jets will be picking after 20 than I do with the Bears picking after 20.
That's if Rodgers stays healthy. If Rodgers stays healthy, I think they won't be picking that low. Or, that high up, that low, whatever you want to call it. They won't be in that position again if Rodgers is healthy. But if, like, out of the top 10, I don't think LA is going to be in the top 10 again. I don't think Arizona is going to be in the top 10 again next year. I can easily see a team like the Raiders and the Saints being in the top 10 next year, though.
Yep. I can see that.
Who else?
Minnesota.
Pittsburgh, maybe. I think Pittsburgh is where they need to go call for Fields.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh got to go call Fields. The Rams might be there. That's if Stafford is hurt. Bengals gonna be higher. They're gonna be further down, like where the Lions are.
To be honest with you, call me crazy. I know they need to draft. They probably need to draft linemen, but if I'm Jacksonville, looking at 17, I'm drafting a wide receiver to replace Zay Jones. His grade was the only one, I believe, of all the Jacksonville wide receivers that was like below 70%.
I think Jacksonville, if they're going to go receiver, it would probably be in like second or third round. Because this wide receiver class is deep too, so it ain't like an end all in the first round.
You know who I could see Jacksonville or Tampa taking in the first or second round if they were to get a wide receiver?
Who?
Ricky Pearsall.
That's not the Gators one, is it?
Yeah, that's Ricky from UF.
Bro, we do not take Florida wide receivers. They all suck since Percy Harvin.
Wait,
Tell me I'm lying.
hold
Tell
on.
me I'm lying.
Hold on.
Since Percy Harvin, every Florida wide receiver sucks.
Hold up. Now you got me looking back.
Bro, I am not lying. Every wide receiver from Florida stinks since Percy Harvin.
Last 10 Florida wide receivers
Oh, well,
drafted.
he does that. Bro, he can't try. Actually, you know what? Let the Bucks take Ricky Pierce on, man.
I really need to see this right now. Okay, so
He might actually be good. Don't get me wrong. He might break the curse like how Stroud broke the bad Ohio State quarterback curse. But man, Florida has not had a good wide receiver in years.
geez, that's a name I was surprised fell off. Kyer Elam. That's crazy.
No, he was good in the playoffs. He was just hurt all regular season. For some reason, he's like trash in the regular season, and then he goes and becomes good in the playoffs. It's like crazy.
Are we
'Cause
counting?
he had a pick.
Are we counting
Call-
Kyle Pitts as a wide receiver? He's a tight
He's a
end.
tight end, bro.
He's still a receiver though.
Okay. He has 3 touchdowns on his career or something like that.
Okay, now that's bad, but you gotta look at he in Atlanta. Okay. Van Jefferson.
Come on now. He's on his 3rd team. He got literally sent away from LA for a bag of chips.
Fair. Okay. Okay. Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
Tell me the names. Say the names so people can know who you're looking at.
I'm looking
And
at
tell me I'm lying.
Freddie Swain, Tyree Cleveland. Hold on. Let me going back.
Antonio Callaway, Kadarius Toney.
Honestly, and I'm gonna be real with you, Antonio Callaway he had so much potential. He just did not have it mentally, especially after watching Hard Knocks. That guy did not have it mentally. Even Demarcus Robinson. He was
Okay.
nice.
He's been on a couple of teams, but whenever he does perform, he was good. He does have his moments, so it's not terrible. So I'll give you that one.
Let's see. Jeez, I'm all the way back into 2013 now. Jeez, I forgot all about Mike Gillislee. He was a running back. Jeez.
All right, that's enough. We get the point.
Yeah.
Taking all. As you can see, Florida wide receivers, I don't know about them. Now Pearsall, he looks good. I ain't gonna lie. He does look good on tape. But Florida wide receivers, man, I know.
So here's what I'm going to ask you now. If you were asking GM Ace to put his hat on, if you're the Saints sitting there at 14, what are you doing?
Me?
Yeah.
Now, it depends. Is Michael Penix sitting there? Is Lulu Watu from UCLA sitting there?
I'm going to be real with you.
Is Romeo Odunze sitting there?
I'm going to be real with you. Now let's be realistic here too. Because who was that? Jalen Carter was there and the Saints still
At
didn't.
10. No, Jalen Carter was at 10.
Oh, I'm thinking about there was a lot of decent players in that draft class that like everybody just skipped over.
Which pick? Last year draft or the year before draft?
Last year's draft.
Oh no, they did fine in the first round. Brise's good. I'm not worried about that pick at all. Now that 2nd round pick, I am mad they didn't take Brian Branch and they took Foskey over him. That one I'm mad about.
No, I can
But
see.
Foskey pass rushers get 3 years, and then I'll call him a bust if he doesn't show up next year.
Looking at this closely.
But for this year, it depends on who's available at 14. Because if the dude from UCLA is there, the pass rusher, I'd say him. If Penix is there, I'd be fine with it because it's a new offensive coordinator, and I think Dennis Allen gets fired soon. Like, I looked at that Saints schedule, bro. If they get like any one of the they got like the Chiefs, the Browns, the Chargers. They got like some dogs on that schedule this year. It's not no cupcake schedule like last year was. Like if they got a couple of those guys early and they get beat up bad, Allen is gone. So I wouldn't mind the Phoenix pick at 14. But I'd say Odunze at 14 is an option. Latu is an option there at 14. Now if Joe Alt's sitting there, that'd be a dream, but that's not happening. From Notre Dame, that offensive lineman. If the offensive lineman from Penn State's there, that'd be cool. But yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and he has to make it past 14 to get to Seattle.
No, Seattle's trading up. If Seattle was to take Phoenix, they would trade up and get him.
I could see them trading up to 9. Someone said JJ McCarthy to Denver. That would be wild.
Yeah, who cares?
It'd be funny. What if the Saints took JJ McCarthy? Oh my gosh. I could just see. Oh my gosh. Now see, look, Tom Brady was an unsung hero that came out of Michigan like that.
And the 6th round, not the 1st.
Hey, look. That boy might be
JJ McCarthy was basically did nothing in this championship game and won.
He might be the savior. Remember what the front office said about Dennis Allen. This is exactly how Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson started off. And a dynasty was born. You gotta have faith.
All right, buddy. How about you guys take Bo Nix at 26? I like that idea.
I could see a tight end. Brock Bowers.
Bro, Brock Bowers ain't going to 26. He's going way earlier. Y'all can go have Bo Nix and be happy in life for a year and then realize he's trash.
Call me crazy. I could honestly see Bo Nix like going in the 3rd round, kind of like not Malik Willis. What's the kid's name?
Corral?
The kid that went to Tennessee.
Hooker? But he got hurt.
That's Tennessee. The kid that he ended up getting drafted by the Titans, is what I'm referring to.
Oh, Will Levis in the 2nd round.
I could see Bo Nix going like the 2nd or 3rd round.
Maybe I can see it.
And everybody's gonna be like, "What? What? Are you serious?" I can see something like that happening with him.
All right. Anything else?
Not well. I mean, I guess we could kind of. Well, I guess we talked about that though. Never mind. I was gonna say, revert back to, how do teams adjust to stop the Chiefs? But I guess we kind of talked about that already.
Yeah.
So I guess that's pretty much it, really. Just go ahead and wrap this up.
Wow. Anticlimactic.
What? Anticlimactic. Not sure what did we say? But
I don't know. Anyways.
Folks, that's going to do it for us on this season of the Running Gun Podcast. We thank you so much for joining us from the start of it. Jeez, it feels like just yesterday not even just yesterday.
When did we start?
I think we started.
I guess, like October.
This was 18 weeks. I feel like, geez, did we start? Yeah, we started in like October. We picked it back up around.
I'm going to just count. All right, so this is week 18. So 17, 16. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So October 18th week.
Jeez.
You know what it was? We had like a week off, and then remember we had that Trey. We had Trey on the show to start.
Yeah.
It's like we took like a week off, and then we just started back up, and we never stopped.
That's why. Yeah, no, we just kept it going. We just kept going. Oh, Jesus. We're going back to 14 episodes. But
yeah, it'll be spring, summer. I think we'll come back for free agency.
Yeah, definitely.
Free agency will be in spring break though. Maybe after spring break or
Yes.
during spring break. I don't know.
After spring break. But ooh, geez, yeah, this was a long, wild episode. We went in a whole season really. We went all the way through from homecoming to Florida Classic to
Christmas stuff.
to Celebration Bowl to Coach Simmons leaving,
Party.
bowl season, all the way to now.
That's crazy. All right. If we had to come back, I'd say somewhere between March 13th and 20th we might come back.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine with me. That's perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, we could use that break.
Yeah, we could.
Hey, first week in a minute where no FBI agents called or knocked on the door.
I'm so freaking happy, dude. I'm like relieved and relaxed. I'm just like, oh, thank God. I didn't have to worry about none of that. Because that's what I was thinking in the back of my mind. I'm like, who's going to come knocking on the door tonight? Who's going to come calling tonight? I was literally thinking.
Valentine's night. I was like, yeah, I don't know about that.
I mean, I'm going to make my phone call or my text message after this is over. But like, I'm like, geez, nobody's checking for me tonight. Thank God.
I don't want to worry about that.
Well,
with that being said, everybody, thank you for another great season of the Running Gun Podcast. Yeah, it was fun. Had a great time. Covered a whole lot of things. We might be back anywhere between March 13th to 20th. And as always, be a friend. Tell a friend. Like, share, subscribe. J Peeps, any closing words before we head on out for the final time for a month? Need a recharge.
Yeah, be safe, stay blessed. As always, don't do anything stupid. Get comfortable. Enjoy the off season. We'll see you.
Enjoy basketball.
Yes, that. Good night, folks.